Hi everyone, Mr. Lee here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get your collected data, put it into a spreadsheet like Google Sheets, and make charts out of them or make graphs out of them. Now, in order to start, I have my made-up data here. So I have my time, my elapsed time, my displacement, and my velocity. So in this upper left-hand corner, I'm showing you the equation that I used to come up with data. Once again, this is made-up data. So if I wanted to create a graph from all of this, okay, what you can do is you can highlight all of your data, and you can click up here where it says Insert, and then do Insert and then Chart. So if you do that, Google Sheets will give you what it thinks is the best chart for this. Now, here I have a lot of different representations. I have my distance line. I also have my velocity line. Assuming that this t is the x-axis, which is the time, this is what my graph will look like. But I don't like this. I only want one of these variables along the y-axis. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to isolate your data set. So on my right-hand side over here, okay, where it says series, this allows you to choose what you want for your y-axis. So for my y-axis, I just want distance. So I'm going to click these three dots and I'm going to say remove. All right, wonderful. So here I now have my my distance versus my time graph. We can see that with our data. Okay, so now that we have the actual data that we want, I'm going to show you how to change up the titles. So in order to change the title, if you just click it, double click it, you can now create your own title. So we always wanted the y-axis versus x-axis format. So displacement, okay, versus time. Now you see me using the minus sign. Sometimes you will see written as versus, but I just like to use that dash. It just makes things a little bit cleaner for me. All right. Now taking a look at my x-axis down here, that is t for time. But you notice here, I don't have anything for my y-axis. So in order to give it a y-axis title, I'm going to go over here where it says chart and axis titles. So under the customize button, I'm going to click chart title. And I'm going to click the vertical axis title. Now you'll notice here that you can give labels to all of these other titles, but right now we don't have a vertical axis title. So I'm going to click that. Okay, I'm going to give my vertical axis a title, XM. Okay, so this is my position in meters. All right, and it pops up. Cool. Now, for the line itself, I don't like this line. And the reason why I'm telling you I don't like this line is because it doesn't actually show us what we did in order to get this data. So if you notice here in my data set, I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 data points. Okay, I have 6 data points. But this line, what this line is showing me is I have an infinite amount of data points. So every single one of those pixels is, you can think of it as a data point. I didn't collect all that. So in order to show what I actually collected, I'm going to go to where it says up here, chart style. Click that. Setup. There we go. Setup where it says chart type. Click that, and I'm going to make it a scatter chart. So if I make it a scatter chart, I can see that these are actually my 6 data points that I actually collected. Notice everything else in between is empty, so I didn't collect any of that data. Okay. Now, when we have graphs and charts like this, what we can do is we can create lines of best fit. Now, Google Spreadsheet, they call it the trend line. So in order to find the trend line, I'm going to click here, which says Customize. Okay. And where it says Series, right there, click that. And I'm going to scroll down where it says Trend Line. So if I click Trend Line, it'll automatically give us the best estimate for what the trend line would look like. Okay, isn't that cool? Now, luckily for me, what I did is I created very predictable data points, right? I made everything go up by by 2s. And so I could adjust it a little bit to show you that this is giving us the average, or if we were to like quote unquote perfect data, what it will look like. And just to prove that, I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to adjust it by a couple of decimals here and there. Let's see, 6.1, 8 is fine. And 10 point, I don't know, 3. All right. So I adjusted the data a little bit, and now you can see, so if we were to take real life data, this is what it would look like. It would look like some of the data points are a little bit below, some of the data points are a little bit above the trend line, but this trend line is showing us, if we were to have collected perfect data, it's like what it would have been, right? So this is nice and all, and you can find the line of best fit for this trend line, but luckily for us, Google is able to do that for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my series, make sure my trend line is clicked, and then right here where it says label, I'm going to click. Right now there is no label for this trend line, but I want to give it a trend line. So if you have a trend line already, or if you know what the slope is and what the equation is, you can create custom, and then you can give it a equation. But if you haven't figured that out, you can also click this, use equation. So when I click use equation, it comes up with my trend line up here. So that's my line of best fit equation right up there. Okay. In order to make this a little bit more clear, I'm going to double click it so I can rename it. So I'm going to say that this is the y is equal to 2.04x plus negative 0.0571, which is basically 0. I'm going to call it 0 because that's what we started off at. Okay, and that would be my trend line equation. So what this shows us is that the slope for the data that we got was 2.04, because if this was in the y equals mx plus b formula, our y would be the y-axis, which is position. X is the x-axis, which is the time. And right here, the m in y equals mx plus b, m is our slope, and our slope is 2.04. Okay, and before I adjusted it, I made sure that the velocity was 2. And so we can see that this is actually pretty close. Now, if I were to adjust the data on the fly, let's see if this works. If I were to adjust the data back to its original one, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, we can see that we created the trend line again. All right, I want to click that trend line. Right now it's custom, so I want to say use equation. Okay, so if I do use equation, we can see that in the y equals mx plus b, let me adjust the formula so that it's in that format. Our y is our displacement or our position. Our x is our x-axis, which is time, and 2 is our slope. Okay, and for a position versus time graph, our slope is our velocity, and we can see here that our velocity was 2, so it matches up. Is that cool? All right, so those are the ins and the outs of creating a data set. Okay, but let's say we wanted to create a data set of a velocity versus time graph based on what we have. What can we do? So I'm going to get rid of this graph here. And so if you have like a data collection like this, and you want to create a graph from it, what you can do is you can just highlight your data, right? And you can copy paste it so that this is your new data set. Okay, but if you don't want to do that, you just want to highlight everything, you can do insert chart, and once again it'll give you its best estimate of what the chart will look like. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger, but I want velocity versus time, and so in order to do that, I'm going to look over here where it says series. I don't want the displacement, so I'm going to remove that. And now this new chart will give us velocity versus time. So if you use this method, just make sure that you change the title. Okay, make sure you give it a vertical axis title. So this is going to be velocity, right, and time. And if you want to give this a, well, we got to make sure that it's in the proper scatter point format. Okay. And ta-da. Okay. You can also give this a line of best fit by going over to customize, format and trend line, and then go to label, use equation, and that is our equation. Okay, so notice here it gave us the equation, but if I double click it, I can edit it so that it's in the y equals mx plus b formula. All right, cool. In the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to linearize. Now, it's one of the more important things because luckily for us, this data was nice and neat and everything was in a line, but in real life, our data won't always look like that. So I will go over how to adjust your data so that it's all in a linear fashion. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.